In this video, we will demonstrate how to use Page Generator Pro's Spintax and Block Spintax functionality, as well as explain what these are. In a previous video, we demonstrated how to use the AI dynamic element as a way to produce unique content based on the products or services, locations, etc. that you're working with. And this is a great way to help build your generated pages to have a mix of keywords and unique content that's designed for SEO and your website visitors. We could use this for smaller pieces of content. So for example, in our content group here, we have an introductory phrase below the title, and using AI here would allow us to generate something that's very unique for every generated page. The drawback of this would be that we're using a lot of credits to do this with. Also, the generation time will be longer because we'd have to wait for the AI response for every single service and location combination that we generate pages for. This is where Spintax comes in. Spintax is a manual way of specifying 2 or more random words or phrases that Page Generator Pro can then pick from when it generates your content. So here, instead of just having the word easily, I could have easily, quickly, rapidly. So to do this, we'll open the left curly brace. We'll ignore the keyword suggestions and we'll go to the end of the word and use the closing brace. What we then do, which is different from keywords, is we'll enter the pipe delimiter and we'll start typing our synonyms or other words that we want to use instead of easily. So here I've got a choice of 3 words, easily, quickly and rapidly. We'll go ahead and click save. We'll click the content group tab and we'll scroll down and click generate via browser, and we'll then inspect some of our pages to see the results. And we can see that we've got rapidly as the word for the first generated page, easily was used for the second, quickly was used for the third. We're not limited to individual words. We could use phrases. So if I undo what I've done here and go back to the word easily, I might wish to create this particular phrase here and have that within Spintax as well. So once again, we'll put our curly braces around the text. We'll use the pipe delimiter and we'll start coming up with some variations. So here I've come up with 3 different phrases within the Spintax, all of them delineated by the pipe separator. We'll go ahead and click save. We'll once again generate our pages and review the results. So this time we've got quickly produce stunning as the first page, rapidly produce amazing as the second, and then quickly produce stunning as the third. Whilst we could walk through the entire content group and replace some of our hard-coded text with Spintax, that would be quite time-consuming, and also we might not have the creativity to know which different phrases to come up with. That's where Page Generator Pro provides a really useful tool called the Generate Spintax from Selected Text. And what this does is it allows you to select some text. So in this example, we'll select this first phrase here. You can click the button and you'll see that you get some variations. This isn't ideal. I think we can do better. So we'll navigate over to the plugin settings. We'll click the Spintax tab and we can see that we have the service option here. By default, Spintax will use the plugin's internal dictionary, which is somewhat limited. So we can leverage the use of AI by selecting our applicable AI provider. I'll use OpenAI. If your site is not in English, you can also tell it the language that you'd like to produce. We have the option to skip capitalized words and certain words that you might want the software to skip. You can enter them here. So any branded terms, for example, that you would like to keep, perhaps a business name, this would be a great place to put that information in. We'll go ahead and click save. And then if we go back to our content group, we'll revert the change that was made here. Once again, we'll select the initial piece of text and we'll click the Generate Spintax button. You'll notice that took a little bit longer than the internal dictionary, but the advantage is that we now have far more detailed Spintax that will produce more random variations. We can see that the software chose to have 3 different words for the first word. It was able to then do the same here, and it was also able to notice that we really want the word customizable, but we can actually come up with some other variations to describe that. We'll go ahead and tidy up this content quickly, and we'll click the save button. We'll click on the content group tab and we'll go ahead and generate our sample pages. And we can see here the first result starts easily create stunning, fully customizable websites. The second was effortlessly create gorgeous, fully customizable sites. And the third chose to go with quickly create beautiful, totally customizable websites. You're not limited to using Spintax in the content. It is also supported in most of the content group's fields. You're not limited to using Spintax just within the content group's content. We support Spintax across most of the fields available in the content group, and this would extend to things like your SEO plugins, custom field plugins, etc. For example, we could go ahead and use this for our featured image where we query AI, and our topic could be, instead of a person working on the service keyword, we could have something like a person producing a service, which would be web design, web development, followed by in our Spintax. So one image would be in an office, another might be outdoors, another might be on a beach, etc. This is a really good way to help further produce quite unique content for what could be a lot of very similar looking pages otherwise. If you're using the classic editor, you'll spot that the Generate Spintax button is available in the visual editor, or sometimes called the Tiny MCE editor. This is also available in most of the page builders supported by Page Generator Pro. You'll need to find the applicable page builder's text module or text widget that supports the visual editor. So in this example, we have Elementor, where we could select some text and then we could use the Generate Spintax button here. If your page builder does not support this, we'd recommend performing the generation of Spintax outside of your page builder and then copying and pasting that from perhaps the classic editor into the page builder that you're using. Another feature of Spintax is the ability to process this on the front-end website. This could be useful if you have some static pages that you've built, but you'd like the small pieces of text to change on each time it's viewed. We can demonstrate how this works by enabling the process on front-end option, going ahead and saving our settings. And as a very basic example, I've created a page with some Spintax as part of the content. And if I go ahead and view that, I can see that it comes up with some amazing content. And if I refresh the page, I can see that it changes to great content. Page Generator Pro also supports block Spintax. And block Spintax is useful when you're dealing with larger pieces of content where you don't wish to use AI to generate that content dynamically, but using Spintax would end up in quite unreadable content within the content group, making it hard to do further edits. We use three specific tags. We use section, paragraph, and sentence tags, and we'll demonstrate how to use these within the block editor, although the principles do also apply to the classic editor and your page builder. You must, wherever possible, make use of a HTML or text-only based widget. Using certain modules and widgets that wrap the content in HTML may result in the block Spintax functionality not working. For the block editor, this is easy. We can go and insert the custom HTML block. In this example, I've told Page Generator Pro that I'd like to produce one paragraph comprising of one sentence, and it should pick one of these two sentences from within this block. We'll remove our existing Spintax. We'll scroll down and we'll click Generate via browser. And we can see that we have the result here. For the first page, it says easily create beautiful websites, and the second picked that second option from the sentence. We can now build on this by adding further sentences if we wish. So I'll go ahead and copy the first sentence block. I'll paste it here. I like to use some spaces just to indent what I'm doing so it's easier for me to visually work on. So in this example, my second sentence will pick one of we won't be beaten on price or our prices and quality are the best. Once again, we'll demonstrate how this works by generating pages. Our first page shows quickly produce stunning results and we won't be beaten on price. The second has the same sentence but a different second sentence, and the third decided to use a different first sentence and second sentence as well. We can go further than this. So here I've added a second paragraph block within the block Spintax, and again I'll have two sentences with two options for each. It's worth noting that you're not limited to the choice of two sentences. You could have more options within here, for example. You could have a greater number of sentences or a fewer number, and the same goes for paragraphs as well. And we can see here this time that we have our first paragraph with the two sentences selected, and then the second paragraph was created here, noting the gap in between, and again it's picked two sentences, and we can see the same for the other generated pages as well. If your content's order isn't important, we can make use of a section, and we mentioned this earlier in the video. The section tag allows us to randomize the order of the items within it. So for example, I can simply go ahead and open it with a section tag here, and I can close it with a section tag here, remembering to put the / there. We'll click Save and demonstrate how this works. And when we view our generated pages, we can see what's happened here is our second paragraph actually is now the first one, so the two have inverted, and on another page it's retained the original order. So again, this is another tool to add to block Spintax if you really want to mix up and randomize the content that you're generating. One of the big advantages of using a section is that you can specify the minimum and maximum number of paragraphs to output, which further randomizes our content. So in this example, I've gone ahead and added a third paragraph here, talking about the area that's covered and the quality of service. I can then go into the section tag and specify the minimum and maximum number of paragraphs that I'd like to generate on every generated page. This is useful if we want to further randomize the text page to page, so it's not always going to be 3 paragraphs and uniform. And we can see here that the software decided to select 1 paragraph for the first page, and then it selected 2 for another page. We do have other flags that can be applied to sections, for example, requiring specific paragraphs within it. We do have some detailed documentation linked from this video that covers how to do that.